been told from documentary filmmakers is that you set out to make one movie and then you end up making another. It seems like with this one, you didn't really have that option. You kind of had to hold true to what you set out. Did you know what you were making day one?
Well, we knew we were making a movie about product placement, marketing, and advertising that was going to be paid for by product placement and advertising. Now, where it goes from there, who knows? What I think the film does a really great job of is showing that these people were, as I said to the folks in Sheets, that they were brave enough to stand behind their company and say, listen, we're going to be a part of this. And so much so that we're going to let you take our brand and do what you want, and we're not going to have any say in it, which is the best. Like the most amazing thing is that we retain full creative control. We were going to be making a film that kind of, pulled the curtain back on the whole idea of marketing, product placement, and advertising. And I think they were willing to take part. I think they were scared. It was like they were at the premiere on Saturday, and Amy, who is the Amy of Amy's Frozen Pizza, just saying, we thought maybe he'd throw us under the bus. We didn't know what was going to happen, and it came out great. We really had free reign, to do things. And you see us pitch the commercials. Like there were things that we pitched that got shot down, and with every brand that we did commercials for, like there was a real process of here's the commercial we want to make. No, we don't want you to make that commercial. Here's the commercial we want to make. We don't want you to make that. So I kept writing ideas, kept sending them to them, until ultimately they said yes. In this movie, we've turned that idea of selling out into a positive, which also is a real, I think, natural comment on where we are today. I think a lot of people look at being able to sell out as a level of success. I've made it when I've sold out. I've made it when I'm sponsored. I've made it when I've been given this, or I get to sell this, or I get to sell the palm. That's when I'm really there. So I think there's a tremendous commentary that comes from that in the movie. Having known a lot of people who worked in advertising who hated it, the advertising people that I knew that worked in advertising that didn't like it, all wanted to be creative people. They all wanted to be filmmakers or writers or other things, and ended up copywriting for some shoe or some soda, making commercials. Like that was kind of their outlet as being filmmakers. But most of my immediate friends hated it and were miserable. But then you have somebody like a Richard Kirschenbaum, who literally was the guy that got us banned, who loves it. Like literally, that is his lifeblood. He feels so good about it, and I admire him. I think he's a fantastically brilliant guy, and he was the guy that opened up the door and got us, literally got the movie rolling. No advertisers would work with us. That was the thing. Not one advertising agency, with the exception of Richard Kirschenbaum, who we went back to everyone said no, said yes. Literally everyone else was out. Like all those angry people wanted nothing to do with this, because God forbid we ruined their core business of convincing these brands that they need them.
Absolutely.
Which ultimately I think what you see in the film is ultimately how much do the brands really need the ad agencies. Because if the brands really have a real sense of their own identity and what they are, maybe it's not that necessary. And I think that we had some brands that were incredibly smart and brave to kind of be in the movie. They were very trusting to kind of turn it over to us, and I think it came out really cool. And that's why I said I think that's what makes those brands look brilliant. And the best part is as a result of that, that both screenings on Saturday night and the one that we had yesterday, both screenings, people, and so many in the audience said, I kind of want to go out and buy these products now. And so does product placement work? Absolutely it does.
Have you been sued yet?
No.
Do you get sued often?
We got sued by a couple people over Supersize Me, which were quickly dismissed. Yeah.
So you have a good lawyer.
I've got a gaggle of great lawyers. Yeah, I've got the greatest lawyers.
I have to say, the lawyer that you talked to in the film made some of the most sense, because everybody looks at lawyers and all this type of stuff, made the most sense out of anything in terms of business.
And especially when we were talking to Rick Kernan, he's talking about the idea of faction and what that means, which is so spectacular. It's such a great word to hear, and I'd never heard the word faction before.
Yeah.
And just like what that means in legalese was remarkable.
Yeah.
I came to this movie with baggage. People would say on the phone, I already saw what you did to that other corporation. Why do I want to take part in this?
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. It was a fascinating process, the whole thing. Getting into Sundance, the best thing is, just do everything you can to make sure you have a great story and your movie is, as complete as it can be. Don't send anything to Sundance until it's done, even if you're waiting another year. Because I've seen people who've sent rough cuts that weren't ready, and already the programmers saw early rough cuts, and so there was already a negative impulse to that film, even though the film came out great. So for me, I think that's the first thing. And then once you're in, and once you're here, you're going to be nervous, you're going to be scared, you're going to be freaking out. Even before my premiere the other day, and this is my third time here with a movie, I slept an hour the night before the premiere, Like the next day I was so nervous, like I went to the gym and I worked out for an hour just to like get rid of any type of tension I had, and it made my whole day. So maybe you should go for a run, go for a walk, go skiing or something before your screening, just like get out any bit of stress you have.
Yeah.
And relax. Like,
Does it ever get any easier for you?
I think it's easier to make films. Like it's become a lot easier for me to make them, but it doesn't get easier to like relieve the impact of what you think an audience is going to be. Because ultimately, you don't make a movie to put on a shelf. You make movies to share, and you share a part of yourself. It is a child. Like literally, I spent 2 years birthing the greatest baby that we just had out here, and God forbid somebody sits in a theater and then tears it apart in 2 hours. What you want is hopefully that the work you put into it is somehow embraced.
Do you have any just a tip for filmmakers in general going out there, how to actually get started if they haven't done it?
I think the biggest thing is if you haven't started, if you're scared and haven't gotten started, what are you doing? Get a camera, get a computer. It's the easiest thing in the world to make a movie now. Like the level of entry is so cheap. Like literally for $5,000 you can buy a camera and a computer and you can make a movie tomorrow. And if you don't have $5,000, I bet you know someone with a camera and a computer that you can rope in. Like Super Size Me, nobody got paid. We had at one point about 45 people working on that movie for nothing. Like people will give you their time, they will give you their trust, they will give you their faith if they know it's going to get finished. So the biggest thing I tell all filmmakers is if you start a movie, finish it. Don't give up. Don't stop. Get it done. See it through. Even if you're not happy with it, people don't like it. That completion process is going to help you move on to the next thing.
Absolutely. Is it nice now that you get to pay everybody and that you actually do have kind of a
They appreciate it.
They appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah, exactly.